social media is important as it provides, to say, a first introduction, curiosity, a first window, but then the tasting is essential.
Are we trying to change those drinking habits, or are we trying to bring in some new interest? How do you see the consumers' preferences and all the wine industry's trends going in 2025? What trends are you noticing?
I mean, not everywhere is possible to do it. You have to be very good. You have to be working with very, very great locations. There's also plenty that have mistreated this term to just cover up their faults and their lack of experience or lack of management in the vineyards and the winery.
All the winemakers try to have the least intervention possible. It doesn't even make sense. What are some hidden gems that they should focus some interesting Italian wine regions? There are so many ways that this could be done, and we are just stuck. We are just stuck in this. Hello everyone. This is the Top Arpad podcast, and today I'm thrilled to have Alojz, Felix, Jermann with us. Felix is an AIS certified sommelier, content creator, and part of a legendary winemaking family with over 5 generations of heritage in Friuli, Venezia, Giulia in Italy. Welcome, Felix. It's really nice to meet you.
It's good to be here.
How are you? How are you doing right now? Are you at home in Friuli?
At the moment, I am home in Friuli, and yes, so to say, getting ready to kickstart 2025.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Lots of travels for sure to be done, and lots of projects in the wine world to be tackled.
Exactly. It's going to be an exciting year. To start, it would be interesting to hear your story growing up in a family with such a winemaking history with 5 generations. What were the lessons that you learned through all this generational winemaking history in your family, and how did your career start in wine?
Yeah, sure. I mean, lessons. I mean, nothing comes without hard work. For sure, everything that has been built to this day has been made by lots of sacrifices and hard work. If you think about where we live today, we went through First World War. My great-grandfather fought in the First World War. In the First World War, and a lot has changed since then, and a lot has improved, a lot has developed. The family definitely started with only a few vineyards. Now it's a very important reality in Friuli, Venezia Giulia, and all of Italy actually. So a lot of work has been done, a lot of sacrifices, a lot of hard work, and the next generation coming into the next. I'm the fifth, but actually collaborating very little with my own family. Currently, I'm only taking care of the American market, so the USA and Canada. So North America to be precise. The rest is my own projects within the wine world. So mostly focused on communication, focused specifically on social media, content creation, and social media consultancy. I would say to that. We've been having lots of fun, lots of adventures, and great discoveries in the wine world. But of course, I couldn't have done it without all of the experience and work in the vineyards and in the winery that I've done since I've been grown up. Since a child, I've always been, spending time in the vineyards and in the winery, together with my family, together with the workers of the winery itself. For sure, I'm very passionate about wine. At the moment, less about production, but more about communication. I think there is a lot of competition in terms of winemaking, wine production. All of the world makes wine, and decent quality wine. Of course, Italy, the advantage of Italy is the history, the legacy, the prestigiousness about it. But if we compare it to price, there is the new world that is definitely for sure much more competitive in terms of prices. So
of course,
it's a challenge these days, and you have to be really good at to tell it yourself, to share your story and to make it appealing, and in order to really bring across the message and why is that we're drinking that specific wine. It's for sure a lifelong journey, and I'm sure that I'm only at the beginning because I'm 28 now. Been working in the wine world officially since since I'm 18, but even before that, of course, because in a family business, in a traditional family business, there is no day one. You're born into it,
Yeah, of
and
course.
you have to learn how to navigate a little bit by following your parents, following the grandparents, stealing with the eye, and things like
Exactly.
that. So it's a lifelong experience, and it's a little bit about wine too. Wine is definitely a journey, a discovery. You start at a certain point, you discover some wines, and if you're curious and eager and passionate about it, you develop and you learn more and you discover, and your tasting experience develops as well. So it's really is a journey.
Of course, I totally agree with you, and it's really interesting. Actually, we are the same age. I'm 28 as well, so that's fun. Well, that's very interesting what you said. You said that you are trying to build your own journey. What is the plan with
without
that? Is
without
this is
trying without trying
without trying? What
No,
does it mean?
it means that I've been doing it now since 5 years. So
Okay.
I've been full on dedicated to my own wine journey.
I see. And is this like a strategic move, as you said, that the wine production side is kind of figured out in the global market already, and it's working well, and you are focusing on this like less developed and on the part that needs more attention and more creativity, maybe.
It's not a strategic move. It's something that came when me and my father maybe did not agree on certain aspects of the business, and I decided to venture off myself. So this
I
happened in
see.
2020 during COVID. There were some disagreements with the family, and I decided to take, so to say, my own journey into the wine world, because
Okay.
I'm still very passionate, but it's not always easy to work in a family business, and
Yeah.
sometimes you have to go your own way to make your own experiences, and that has happened in 2020, and now we are in 2025, and yeah, it's been quite a journey, but yeah, it's it's hard to work in a family business, so to say,
I
and
see.
still today, the previous generations, the current generations have a lot of control and power. I wanted to have my own freedom in communicating and expressing my own ideas about the wine world. And that's why I created my Instagram page, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, say, to express, communicate the wine world. Also because at the moment we are faced with this challenge of bringing closer the new generation,
Exactly.
and it's a big challenge, and it's also an opportunity, though. How can we bring closer the next generation to wine? And I believe, and we've seen lots of success already with previous projects, how social media and the tailored experiences can really, bring curiosity and start the journey to a new wine lover. And we really need that in the world of wine. And my aim right now is really to bring closer the next generation of wine, to bring curiosity, educate, and being
Exactly.
able to share the beautiful wine. Social media is important, as it provides, to say, a first introduction, curiosity, a first window, but then the tasting is essential, because
Of
wine
course.
is made of sensations, is meant out of tasting, is meant for sharing. And so you need to bring them either to the winery or to a restaurant, to try the wines. And I think we are working very well in doing both.
I see. Well, I would say that you are working on the best path. The work that you do, introducing people to the wine world, and the style of communication that you apply. I think it's the way. And it's very interesting that you said this, like the tradition and the weight of heritage. This is like a common experience in the wine world, like in the whole industry globally. What you have experienced in your personal life, the thing that lots of things that the tradition we bring with us, lots of things that work, and it's very hard to implement change, because it's kind of scary to change things, because you don't know what segment of the whole heritage and knowledge base is the thing that is the key for it to work, and what are the things that could be better if would be changed. So I think it's a really interesting play in the like in the whole industry.
I think it's more about change. It's about tweaking, and
Yeah,
going towards coming closer also to the younger consumers, because the young consumers have different habits, and desire and want are looking for different experiences than the previous generation. They speak a different language as well. They're much more so to say casual, not
yeah,
formal. And so yeah, it's about understanding who we're trying to target, so some things worked very well and are going to continue to work very well. Other things, if you want them to continue growing, then we need to tweak them, change them, to say, make them more fit for the current times.
yeah,
It's a continuous
totally.
evolution as wine evolves through the years, in the bottle, in the winery, and in the bottle, in its
Yeah.
refinement process, and develops. So we need to develop and tweak and keep up to date with the current trends, markets, and strategies.
Totally, totally. It's always the finding the balance to just change those slight things that needs the change. No one wants to uproot the whole vineyard and start again from the bottom, but
Oh, wait,
to
that's not going to
adjust.
happen.
Of course, of course. This is an interesting conversation, and I think it's really hard to really have a grasp on the current situation. I think no one argues that the younger generation has lesser interest in wine, but I think we can't really understand and can't really compare it realistically, because even in previous generations, not the young people were the ones who were really drinking wine. So I think it's really hard to think about what needs to be changed and what are the ways that we can really impact this, because I think it's like a simplistic way of looking at it, that young people don't really drink wine, but maybe even in the previous generations they didn't drink because they didn't have the money. Wine is now, it can be more affordable, but still to drink better quality wine, it's not an entry level thing, and the younger generations don't really have the focus for that. What are the things? What do you think that can really reach the young generation and bring interest to drinking wine? Because I think it's not that simple that the alcohol consumption of younger generations is shifted to beer and cocktails in the club and everything. I'm not sure that those can be replaced. So I'm not. My question is that, are we trying to change those drinking habits, or are we trying to bring in some new interest, like an interest as for the stories?
I mean, I think, just the style of communication should be changed or tweaked for the younger generation, because they are more casual. They don't want to hear all the formalities or all the technicalities in the wine production. They want to experience more the emotions, the experience of the whole product itself, how, when to drink it, how to drink it, with who to enjoy it, in which moment. Make it, I think, more fun and approachable, I think, is the key. Fun and approachable is for sure the
Yeah,
I think the key in bringing close to the next generation. And of course, not all the wines are like that, and it's fine. But there is for sure, almost every winery has a classic wine that is
yeah,
more approachable, in both wine style and price, that can be maybe best for a younger individual that is at the beginning of the wine journey. And as this young individual will embark on the wine journey, in the years, he will, if he's passionate and eager, he will for sure be able to, develop its tasting palette, and therefore, uh, to say, go and move forward into the more, so to say, prestigious and more structured
yeah,
expressions of wine. So I think it's really a language barrier that we're having at the moment, a language barrier that is dictated by how the wine has been presented for decades, which was very formal and elite,
yeah,
which this still needs to continue for some wines. I'm not saying that, but if we are looking to bring close to the next generation, we need to make wine and the whole wine world more fun and approachable too. I'm not saying, savoring bottles, or being crazy in a club, or
Yeah.
being half naked on a beach. I'm saying, creating tailored experiences that, of course, showcase the quality of the wines and the reality, the identity, but in a more easy, more relaxed manner, I would say. So, the young generation is looking to be comfortable, is looking, to be relaxed. They don't want to feel uptight. And therefore we should also be creating tailored experiences for that way. At the moment, I'm curating wine experiences that are very formal and still very, so to say, um, both pricey and formal, in the sense that tasting
Okay.
menus with the food and wine pairings and a long tasting
Mm.
experience. But I'm also creating some more, so to say, fun, down to earth pizza tastings with wine, for example. I
Yeah.
have one coming up in March, where we're gonna be pairing different pizzas, gourmet pizzas, with different
Mm.
wines, and we'll have the wine producer with us. And the experience is tailored actually to everybody, but I'm sure that the feedback and the resonation, the feedback will be coming more from the younger generation, which will
Of
have
course.
something more approachable and also a little bit more affordable. It's a bit, I think, again, it's knowing who you're talking to and where you want to position your wines. If you don't want
Yeah.
to position your wines with the young generation, it's okay. It doesn't matter. You go forward with your own idea, and you focus with the baby boomers, the Generation X, the older millennials, and that's super
Yeah.
fine. There is there's of course a big market for that. But if we're thinking ahead, which I
Yeah.
think everybody should. If we're thinking ahead and we are thinking that the millennials will grow older and the Generation Z will grow older, and then Alpha and Beta will come along. So we need to think how they're thinking, because we cannot imagine that they're gonna appreciate or understand the communicative style that it was resonating 10, 20, 30 years ago. We always have
Yeah.
to be up to date. I think the number rule I think the beginning in marketing is always understanding your target audience. So
Exactly.
it has to be that, and that doesn't mean to lose your own identity, because I
Yeah.
never suggest that. You should always be true to your own identity. You should always do what you feel and what you believe in the most, and you should really not follow trends either. And we're not talking about following trends. We are talking about understanding who is the next generation and how they want to be talked to and approached.
Yeah.
You asked me before, growing in the wine world. I spent so many summers and winters and all the seasons in the vineyards and in the winery as well. And I've been very lucky to learn a lot of things like that. And I've been very lucky to be exposed at a very young age to very important, prestigious wines from all around the world.
Mm.
Um, and I have to tell you, at the beginning, it was scaring me because there was so much. The wine world is
Yeah.
so diverse, so
Of course.
beautiful, but so different, and there's so many details to know, and so many wine countries to learn, and so many wine styles that there are, and the grape varieties and everything that I don't know. Me thinking when I was 15 or 16, I said, how will I ever be able to learn all of this when I be young, when I be older, because there's so much. And then
Exactly.
of course you study and you do either an enology school, or you do your sommelier courses, as I did. And I'm still studying, and I'm still learning, so to say, as it's important. We always keep on learning, but I think it's scary. It can be scary at the beginning because there's so much information and so much choice that it can
Yeah.
be overwhelming, I think, for a younger consumer. But it's important to have these figures, and wineries and winemakers are really the beginning of all of it, that can take by hand the younger community and guide them
Yeah.
into this world. So yeah.
Well, it's obviously a never-ending journey, and it is scary. But also, when you consider the fact that some things and some opinions always change, and based on the wine region, there are like different things that you learn something that this works like this, in maybe in the winemaking technique, and then you learn that, well, a different region does it exactly the opposite way, and then it confuses especially beginners a lot. I think, as you said, there is a language barrier. I agree with that, but I also think that there is like a creativity barrier. What I've noticed, just as you said, always the same details. I was going to wine tasting events, wineries, visiting wineries, and the tasting goes almost every single time the same. Telling the vineyard area, the plots, grape varieties, which are important informations for the wine enthusiasts. They care about this, but for the general audience, it gets so boring after like 3 winery visits. Always the same, like the same story, but changing the details, the different vineyard area, different grape varieties, but always the same. And I think my first experience when I realized that wow, this can be done differently was there was like a festival, like a gastronomy festival, and there was a Hungarian winemaker from Eger called Bojki, and his wine tasting was like almost like a stand-up comedy. He had it was like one of my best like shows I've heard. It was full of stories and jokes, and even if a person didn't care about wine at all, they were like hooked and listening to the stories, and they begin. I even had their friends or acquaintances that were like not in the wine industry at all, and they were eager to try the wines. Wow, this was this story. So I think this is a great example, and I realized that there are so many ways that this could be done, and we are just stuck. We are just stuck in this.
I think every winemaker, every winery, everybody that works in wine should have their own approach to it, tailored to how they feel as well. Definitely, the one that you just described is definitely. I would have loved to have been there as well. I haven't not participated to one like that before. But yeah, definitely, the beauty about the wine world is that we also drink wines because we associate them with a person or with a family or with the
Exactly.
location, and it's important. Wine is made of human contact, of relationships, of being together, sharing moments, being relaxed, or celebrating important occasions.
Yeah.
And therefore, I often buy a wine thinking in my head because I remember maybe the winemaker, the family, or my travel, or an experience. So
Yeah.
I feel like the wine should always be related to an experience or an emotion. It's
Yeah.
like I think the next generation is really caring actually about how this wine want to make me feel.
Exactly.
They want to feel. So let's
Yeah.
make them feel, or let's try to describe. Let's try to describe how this wine makes you feel and makes them feel.
Exactly. Those connections are really, really meaningful. And just for this example, I just remember that for this Christmas, for one of my family members, I bought a wine from this winemaker from Bojki, because when I saw it, I was like, this. I remember this guy, and it had such a great impact on me that I still carry this with me. And I think this, as you mentioned, this should be a way to think for the winemakers and for the wineries, that they should try to build this trust, this knowledge about them, and build these stories to generate interest. Because in the long term, this is the most valuable. It's the marketing of the marketings. This is like not even marketing. This is like the building.
Sharing a true story. I think it's
Yeah,
important to share a true story. What you feel and why you made this wine, and things people are gonna be passionate about it. And people really understand if you're like, especially the young generation, understands if you're telling me the truth, or if you are telling them something that is, argumented and made up just to try to sell. The
exactly.
young generation really has no BS, has the BS radar, and you have to be, I think, true and authentic. Yeah, true, authentic, and yeah, true, authentic to win the next generation, I would say.
Totally, totally. It's this BS radar, as you said. This is the perfect way to describe it. Even on social media, you can even see like statistically that those videos that are like produced by like a professional ad agency trying to be cool and trying to appeal to the new generation don't get views at all. But those videos that are authentic, just in the cellar, the winemaker took out the phone and recorded the thing, that goes viral because people feel that, okay, this is like an authentic experience. It feels like I'm there and I'm experiencing this with the winemaker. It's really, really, really palpable. You also have like some history in art. You have also a career in art. How does this influence your storytelling strategy, and how does these two things tie into each other?
I studied art when I was in high school, and I've always been passionate about painting. I always used to love painting nature from different perspectives and things like that. Then I use a lot of color as well in my paintings, and that's about emotions, how I feel the moment and the location. If you follow me throughout the year, maybe I share one or two paintings that I do in some crazy locations.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's just a passion project, really. Sometimes I get commissions to do a painting for some private clients, but it's just mostly for fun than anything else. But yeah, I'm just so to say, it's part of me. I'm happy to continue doing it. It's fun. Sometimes in the video that you see about me painting, behind the scenes, there is actually a group of people drinking wine, watching me as well.
oh wow, so it's a performance
It's
as
it's
well.
like, yeah, I mean, you can call it like that, but it's more about being together, being together, sharing a moment. Art, I think, can depict very well an instance, an emotion, a location. I
Yeah,
love painting in the nature because, at sunset specifically, because there's so much energy there that
yeah,
I want to, portray it on canvas. So yeah. At the moment, I just did one actually for a charity event where we had actually, it was during a tasting when we had a charity event, and all of the families were bringing their kids, and the kids helped me paint this big canvas, and now this painting is going to be hung at the local hospital here in Friuli Venezia Giulia in Gorizia. So, I mean,
wow,
things
that's very
like that to
nice.
give back to the charity, or just, to bring. I think, what I try to do is bring, happiness with my paintings and positive emotions.
Yeah,
And this is what I also try to do when I communicate the wine world. I think the wine world should be communicated with energy, with passion, with happiness, because people want to be associated with a product that makes them feel good. So yeah, painting is part of it. There is no strategy really. It's just about part of who I am.
exactly. I think, and this makes your communication even wider and even more appealing. Your personality shines through even more, and I think the creativity that you take from your experiences, and all the attention to details that you apply in art, I think it translates. And I think I would recommend to everybody to like try to integrate their creative endeavors into their work, because it can really widen the perspective.
Yeah, and I think, it's about showing who you are, not hiding yourself. And I think that's true to all of us, not only in the wine world, is to
Yeah,
be true to yourself, and
exactly.
don't hide, but go forward in your own direction. It's hard sometimes, for sure, and we have lots of rules to oblige to, but yeah, I think, what you will see in my communication, and what I do also with my communicative project, is always shining the light on the true identity of a product, a wine, a
Yeah.
reality, a tasting, and I do it every day. I really do it every day with my own communication, and to say, happy to share also other stories. But yeah, I think being authentic, and yeah, bringing everything that you can do on the table is always something extra as well.
Exactly, exactly. You talked about upcoming trends in 2024. How do you see the consumers' preferences and all the wine industry's trends going in 2025? What trends are you noticing?
Well, for sure, white wines, or easier to drink, light-bodied red wines are the wines that are going to be most enjoyed. We can see now that white wines, or and yeah, white wines are taking market share from the big, heavier red wines.
Yeah.
People want to drink something that is more approachable, more easy to drink, something that you can drink without even thinking about it, really. So white wines, sparkling wines, bubbles are for sure on the growing trend. So are lighter style bodied red wines, whereas the heavier, more extracted red wines are, yeah, are suffering a little bit at the moment because the consumer is looking at something that is more approachable, more easy, that they can drink without thinking too much about it. And things comes in waves. This is at the moment the what we are seeing both in numbers and the feedback from the customer as well. So that's for sure something very important. Also, the non-alcoholic trend is something that I've been, researching and studying and sharing since actually 2023. So the non-alcoholic wines is something that for sure is gonna grow, and it's gonna take much more of the share of the market in the future. At the moment, we're still for sure at the very beginning, but non-alcoholic wines will for sure have much more interest and demand in the future because unfortunately people are moving away from alcohol in some ways, and there are some people that are choosing not to drink because of their, say, lifestyle choices, and that is something to consider. There is still for sure a lot of development to be done in that sense,
Yeah.
but it's something that we cannot neglect or oversee. And so non-alcoholic wines, I think, are going to come just like in spirits, because right now, if you go, especially in like North America, but not only in the most developed economies and the most developed gastronomical scenes, there is always a program that has non-alcoholic beverages,
Yeah.
uh, you know non-alcoholic cocktails, non-alcoholic wines, juices, different types of, so to say, beverages that don't involve alcohol, because there is a trend of moving away from it. So that is also a challenge for the wine world, but we will see how it develops.
Exactly.
So for sure, light-bodied red wines, white wines, sparkling wines are something that are on the up. Non-alcoholic wines will for sure develop in the future and come much more. And then, I mean, these are in terms of trends, how to say, global warming is for sure invading a lot
Yeah.
of wine growing regions. People are moving higher and higher in elevation to maintain their freshness, their acidity, their health in their vines, in their grapes, and that's something also that we're seeing in agriculture. I think everything, I mean, not everything, but like a lot of the things have been discovered in the winery. The future is really working in the vineyards to be able to keep on creating or growing a fruit that is high quality, rich, but also healthy.
Yeah.
The high temperatures and unpredictable weather that we're seeing all around Europe, and not only, is a big challenge and a threat as well to agriculture and
Yeah.
to the whole wine production industry. So being very scientific in terms of production in the vineyard is very, very important and key, actually. We see the wineries that are more scientific and precise in their agricultural methods are the ones that are going to be winning the most in future. And they're the ones that also will be able to keep on developing a product that is, I think, so to say, up to standard or up to quality. Because if not, you know, thinking about thicknesses problems throughout the whole year, thinking about yield production as well in the harvest time, it's all of things that have to be considered, and there is a lot of challenges at the moment. So the ones that are going to be able to be scientific, and that does not mean to not be natural, eh?
Yeah.
Being scientific means being very research and very thorough and very methodological in your work in your vineyards, because you cannot leave anything to chance at the moment. And maybe in the past that was okay, or you would
Yeah.
follow, so to say, nature, but at the moment, nature is so unpredictable that you have to be, yeah, I think, very scientific to the approach. And Wine at the whole thing, you may call it natural or not, it is a science in a way, because wine does not happen by itself. It needs the man,
Exactly.
to
Totally.
transform, and it needs the human touch to transform in the wines that we're drinking today. And that is not something negative, guys. It's the reality of the things, and the human hand actually helps transform this beautiful grape into wine, and into something that is so precious, and joyful, and so joyful to drink, and so good to drink. So I think going forward, humans will have to be even closer to their product than what they have been in the past.
Wow, some very interesting ideas. I have two questions is about this. Actually, my next question was about low alcohol and non-alcoholic wines, because I know that you are interested in those as well. Could you elaborate a little bit more about that? Because I have almost no experience with this segment. How does that work? What is even the process of producing non-alcoholic wines, and how is the experience translate to the general wine consumer? Uh,
I mean, it's something very new. Techniques in the production are still to be developed further. At the moment, non-alcoholic wines are made by taking away the alcohol of the wine itself, by a specific process that basically deprives of the alcohol, and
okay.
leaves just basically the juice itself without the alcohol itself. Not everywhere is actually legal to be made, but for sure there is big interest from the restaurants and sommeliers into bringing on board similar products, because people are asking more and more about non-alcoholic alternatives.
Yep.
And if wine doesn't cover it, there's going to be something else that will cover it. So beer has been done it very successful already. At the moment, the process is by depriving the wine with alcohol. So basically, after the fermentation, you take away the alcohol, and with a chemical process, which is pretty technical, and I'm not even, so to say, so grasped on it. But
Okay.
yes, that's how you make it. For sure, there has to be a lot of research to be done, and a lot of development in the production. At the moment, I mean, the quality is good, but for sure, the tasting experience is still far from what it can be. So there will be interesting to follow this in the future itself. People, especially young consumers, are interested and curious about it. I'm telling you, I'm a sommelier. I work the floor in restaurants. I curate tastings as well. And more often now than not before, I get asked if there is a non-alcoholic option, a non-alcoholic alternative to the pairing, and therefore it's something that we need to consider, and take in consideration, and bring on board in order to keep on pleasing and satisfying our customers. This is
Yeah.
from a som and from a restaurant perspective, but also from a winery perspective. If this is the question, if this is the growing demand, you should consider also options in this way. I'm not saying you should maybe make the same brand non-alcoholic wines, but think of maybe making a side project for it, or something like that. There's lots of wineries that make juices or others to say
Yeah.
non-alcoholic products, because they come from agriculture as well. Um, Non-alcoholic wines can be an alternative to people that don't want to choose alcohol anymore.
How would you describe a non-alcoholic wine, the tasting experience? I never tasted any of them. What is it providing? Where is it lacking?
I mean, like for me, it's lacking the end emotions, because we drink wine as well because of the alcoholic part, and the little bit of the fun aspect to it as well, and the dangerous aspect to it as well. But to describe an alcoholic wine, I would say that has very similar experiences. It just lacks alcohol. At the moment, they are a little bit maybe too sweet, because when they deprive the wine with the alcohol, they add say aromas
I
and
see.
sugar in some sentences to give them the weight. So at the moment, it's definitely really missing a little bit of the soul and and
I see.
of the body. If you think about non-alcoholic beers, non-alcoholic beer, if you drink an alcoholic beer, you almost feel like it's a normal beer. It's just missing some weight, I would say.
Yeah.
But beers have been developing this for many, many more years than not wine. So
Okay.
we will see how this develops. Maybe it's not gonna go anywhere. Maybe it's gonna be just a trend that stops here. But I don't think that's how the market will go, because the young consumer is always looking more for different alternatives, and alcohol is not always part of it.
I see, I see. Well, obviously, if there is a trend like this growing, it is a smart business move to try to focus on that as well. But what do you think about maybe trying to, in our communication in general, maybe not in the moment, not in the restaurant, because I think that is not the time to try to educate people, but in general, in wine communication, to try to shine more light on the scientific part of the health benefits of normal wine, alcoholic wine, because I think this movement away from alcoholic beverages comes from this like new wave of ideas of not drinking any alcohol, which I think I would recommend to our viewers a video from Konstantin Baum. He just published a few weeks ago about alcohol, and I think, as he mentioned, and he's citing scientific papers about this, people think that alcohol is like linearly bad. So the more alcohol from every single drop, the more alcohol you drink, the worse. But actually, there are lots of scientific papers that showcase that smaller amounts of alcohol drinking, exactly the way that like the general wine consumer drinks a glass of wine with the meal or something, are actually even beneficial, so even healthy. And as you increase the amount, obviously, if you drink lots of alcohol, then it gets bad and worse with the quantity. But there is this difference. He calls it, I mean, not he calls it, but it's called in the science papers the J curve. So the curve on the charts, it doesn't go like this, more alcohol, the worse, but in the J curve like this. So if you don't drink any wine, it can be less healthy than drinking small amounts of wine with your food. So this is like the general idea.
This is what I believe. It's about being, having good balance in your life.
Yeah, yeah,
Not exaggerating. Education should be on a healthy lifestyle for sure. Wine and alcohol, spirits have been part of, our culture for
exactly.
generations, decades. The wine has been around since the Greeks and the Romans.
Yeah,
So, this is like 2,000 years, if not more, for sure more. So it's always been part of our culture, of our daily habits. And I think having a healthy lifestyle is the key. Having a well
yeah,
balanced, well rounded lifestyle is the key. Exaggerating on any substances or any type of experience is negative
yeah,
on your body. So balance is the key, I think, here. Uh, I would not go around saying that wine is healthy, but I would for sure, education on when to enjoy it, how to pair it with food. I think food pairings are important, super important
yeah,
for this type of development in the future, because people. I mean, like in Italy, specifically, wine has always been enjoyed with food.
yeah,
Always been enjoyed with food. There's always been wine and food together. I mean, how beautiful are they together? And if you exaggerate on drinking wine without food, then you get drunk, and if you repeat that, it can cause like health issues, of course. But if you have a healthy lifestyle where you're enjoying wine because of the pleasure of it, because of sharing a moment, it's something beautiful. It's something that if you don't have it, it's not so beautiful without it. Like
yeah,
imagine a celebration without wine or champagne. It's not the same.
exactly.
Imagine not being able to cheers. This is for our culture. This is for our culture. There's other cultures
Yeah,
that completely don't have it.
yeah,
So it's for us. I think it's important to having a healthy lifestyle, a well balanced lifestyle, where food is an important aspect, but also being able to choose the right wine for yourself.
yeah.
So I think that is the key. And yeah, us as communicators, content creators on online and in the real world, we have to, I think, embrace this and be the first example to show it. Like you
Exactly.
see in my videos, you see also me running around on my
Yeah.
bike, fitness, working out. I don't know, going to the gym, running around because I am fully
Yeah.
active and uh, you know. I think it's about caring about yourself. I think it's what it is.
Exactly.
Being able to enjoy the moments without depriving yourself of something, enjoying the moments and enjoying life in 360 degrees. Not everybody has the opportunity, but
Yeah.
we are still talking about something that is precious in a way. So I think the answer to this is having a well balanced lifestyle where wine
Totally.
is something that will enhance the experience, the pleasure of being together.
Exactly, exactly. I think people think about this in like a two choice situation. Either you are healthy or drinking alcohol. And I think this is a very wrong mentality, as you said, the balance, and it's a lot more complex, and you can have both and not just think about it in this like simplistic way. You also mentioned your ideas about being more scientific, and I totally agree with you. And I always say this same thing. It's even funny that you said that wine is not a natural product. It's not like honey. It doesn't occur in the forest. It's an art. It's made by humans. It's science. It requires involvement. In this perspective, what do you think about this growing trend around natural wines? And this natural wine movement contains lots of different aspects, which I think require different attention. For example, the biodynamic movement, which is like exactly the opposite. It's like an anti-science movement. The general natural wine movement, which is like more focusing on the nature. What do you think about this in the perspective of wine?
So, I mean, not everywhere is possible to make natural wine or biodynamical wines because you can excel in that in a climate, in an area that is very less pronounced to sicknesses.
Yeah,
In a lot of cases, these terms are used to manipulate, so to say, the experience
yeah,
or the product itself or its marketing as well. In a way,
exactly.
maybe they don't want to say it, but it is in some ways. There are also some really beautiful natural wines that have low intervention. So low intervention that means you try to not to work too much the vineyards, to leave it as to say as sustainable as natural as possible, and even in the winery you do as less say work as possible to try to have the vineyard first and the wine later in the most say natural process possible in a way. I mean, not everywhere is possible to do it. You have to be very
Yeah,
good. You have to be working with very, very great locations in terms of wine production, and you have to be working with really healthy fruit to be able to transform it
yeah,
into something precious. I think I mean, it's something that is there. I enjoy a lot of natural wines as well. I drink a lot of orange wines as well. But I do not enjoy when some winemakers call themselves natural or orange, and then you find so many faults into the wine. The
yeah,
wine still needs to
exactly.
be organoleptically correct, enologically correct.
Yeah,
It cannot have fault. It cannot be faulty, and it cannot be off. If that is the case, you can call it natural as much as you want, but it's not a wine that I will enjoy. And it's
yeah,
fine. We talked about it before. It's the wine world is beautiful and diverse. You can make whatever wine you want, and you can find
yeah,
your own. You can find your own target. Uh, I'm not gonna promote those. I'm gonna promote like I mean even online what you see for me is only the wines that I enjoy. So
exactly.
I do enjoy a lot of orange wines. I do enjoy a lot of natural wines for sure. Uh, Calling it natural wine is a little bit, a little bit too much because I said it before. It still needs the hand of the winemaker. You know, it
Yeah,
still needs the process. You know, the wine still needs to be so the grapes still need to be harvested, and fermentation, even if it happens with natural yeast, it's still something that is the man is following. You know, because
of course.
there is still some following behind it. So I 100% believe in being as sustainable and as natural as possible in the vineyards and in the winery for sure. But I do not agree on. I will not enjoy and not share and not agree on wines that are faulty, on wines that have yeah, defects into them, because
Yeah,
their ideology was just being, do what nature does. So,
yeah,
and there is some places where, dry places in the world that have perfect climate conditions, where the grapes can grow naturally by themselves, without any intervention, without any fertilizers, or without any
yeah,
to say, prevention of sicknesses. That's super fine. But there is a lot of areas in the world that cannot be the case, and you need to have intervention from the human in order to bring to harvest a healthy grape. So, I mean, you can do whatever you want. You know, the world
yeah.
is free, and you can choose. But I think that there are some beautiful natural wines again, some beautiful biodynamic wines, which I love, but there's also plenty that have mistreated this term to just
Yeah.
cover up their faults and their lack of experience or lack of management in the vineyards and the winery.
Well, I totally share your opinion, and I'm glad that you said this because right now this is kind of like a little bit of a controversial topic, even to like think about this. People consider this movement like you should accept it and don't even criticize it. About the faulty natural wines, I always say that it is like from the child story about the naked king. The king is said that I'm wearing the most beautiful clothes, but if you don't see it, it means that you are stupid, and only the stupid people don't see my beautiful clothes. It's the same thing with the faulty natural wines. That if you don't like it, you are the problem, and this is like a beautiful natural thing that occurs.
Look, the beauty about the wine world is that it's so diverse and so wide and so big that there's space for everybody, But of course, how much space is there for a faulty wine
Yeah,
that is not going to be enjoyed?
of course,
You
of
can
course.
drink, maybe they drink it most of them themselves, but like, and for sure there's people like there is cultures that enjoy more these defects, and they enjoy more these to say heavier, reductive,
Yeah,
vinaigrette type of experiences, because it also pairs better with the food,
yeah.
but it's not for everybody.
Yeah, obviously, obviously. But I think in some ways, especially as we talked about newer generations, this like ideologizing the wine industry and bringing these like strict ideas, it can like put people into boxes that maybe deter them from the wine industry later. If you think about it this way, that only the natural or the biodynamic winemakers care about the wine, I think it's a wrong way of thinking about it, because this idea of low intervention is, I think it's an oxymoron. All the winemakers try to have the least intervention possible. It doesn't even make sense in a business perspective to invest your money where it's not required. All the winemakers try to use as little chemicals, as little intervention as possible, but as the nature and the conditions allow it. So I think all the winemakers are kind of low intervention, but it depends on their circumstances. It's not like a strategy. People put it in a way that these winemakers try to poison us and try to use as much chemicals as possible, but I think it's a wrong way of thinking about it. What do you think about the arguments around the cork and screw cap? Because I think you even talked about it in one of your videos. What is your thinking about this argument?
Even there is a closure for every wine. You know, I love both cork and screw cap. There's both qualities and maybe negatives about both of them too. Screw cap is for sure great because it preserves the freshness, the identity, the characteristics of the wine itself without interfering with the wine, because the screw cap is perfect a shelter to the wine itself, and still allows micro-oxygenation, so the wine still evolves even in screw cap, but does not intervene,
Yeah,
does not deviate the quality that has been made by the winemaker. The cork is something beautiful, something traditional. All sommeliers love opening cork bottles,
yeah,
and maybe probably some of the best bottles that I've enjoyed were with cork, as always been done.
yeah,
And to this to say, cork, there's lots of beauty to it, lots of tradition, but all of this is goes away if the wine is corked,
yeah,
and this happens more often than not. So cork is something traditional, something beautiful, something that will continue to be, and but maybe there will be less opportunities with that in the future, because also the product is scarce. It's
yeah,
has limited production. Um, this to say, there's two different schools of thoughts. There's sommeliers that are completely against screw cap. There's sommeliers that love screw cap.
mm,
And in that sense, I like both. I feel like there is a type of closure for every wine. A fresher, more immediate wine can be beautiful with screw cap, but also wine that needs to be aged, because also screw cap allows beautiful aging to
yeah,
that. Cork, you have to be really good at selecting the really good type of corks, because more often than not are sometimes faulty. There's lots of alternatives. You know, there's Norma cork, which is recyclable. To say sugar cane that it does not give the cork defect, but it's still how to say. It still looks like a cork. There's Diam,
yeah,
that is like a recyclable cork that will never give you the TCA defect,
yeah,
um, but still looks like a cork. So it's a lot. There's a lot of options. Fortunately, to this day, I like both. I just feel like that you need to choose the right closure for the specific type of wine. There's
yeah,
no
yeah,
wrong or
exactly.
right answer. There's different schools of thoughts to this, I would say.
Of course, and I think it's very important because for a long time there was this idea that with screw cap wines there is no aging because people thought that the aging comes from the micro-oxygenation through the pores of the cork. But actually, lots of studies show that the little air that is already in the bottle is well enough for the aging of the wine, so aging can go
No, but
through with.
screw cap, there is different membranes in the screw cap depending on which type of brand and type of level of screw cap you get. That still allows micro-oxygenation, so the wine
Mm,
still breathes.
yeah.
So there is a evolution aspect of it, but it's just different than the core.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. What you said that about DCA? What do you know about any about the statistics right now? Because as far as I know, it was going down a lot in the recent years. What about the new corks that are produced right now? Is DCA still a big factor?
It is, yeah, especially in the lower spectrum of the quality of the corks. There are some corks that are artificially, so to say, smelled and selected, and those tell you that they guarantee 99.9% no TCA
Mm,
defects, but it's still a natural product, so it's still, so to say, um, it's still a natural product, so there still can be some error into it, you know.
mm,
But those corks are very expensive, and not everybody can afford
yeah,
them. On the lower spectrum of the corks, there is more and more problems. There are, however, there is lots of research done, and I've been very lucky to being able to collaborate with Amorim, a leader in cork production from
mm,
Portugal over the years. and we really worked on developing. On communicating this NAD technology type of cork that guarantees 99.9% no TCA defects into the wine. But again, it's natural, so there's always a chance of error.
Yeah.
And that's also the beauty about the wine or about the closure itself. If you don't want to have this error, then choose something else. If you want to have maybe the magic of opening a beautiful cork, a beautiful bottle in cork, and the romantic aspect of it, and then the
Yeah.
beautiful sensations, it's something special. It is also important to know that the wines evolve differently though under screw cap or under cork,
Yeah.
and even in Noma cork and Diam, these alternatives, the wines will evolve differently depending on the closure. So it's
It,
something that you need to take in consideration when you bottle your wines.
exactly. Well, it would be interesting. I'm not sure if there are any experiences like this, but there should be, to bottle the same wine. A winery should bottle the same wine with different closures and have tastings like this, to taste the same wine with screw cap, with all the different corks and everything, to see those differences and try to understand them
Oh yeah,
better. I
there's
think
there's
it would
many
be.
there's many studies, and we have done it many times in a few of the wineries that I consult at for marketing. I'm also very involved in the tasting experiences and understanding how the wine evolves, and we've done many of these tastings in the past, of course. And that's why I'm saying that's why I'm telling you that the wine
I
evolves
see. I see.
differently in different type of closures. It's about what you want at the end of the day and what experience you want to give to your customer.
And could you share your experiences? What did you notice with maybe with the screw cap and with the natural corks? What are the main differences in the
Well, with screw
evolution?
cap, the wine evolves for sure slower, and
Yeah.
it doesn't. The screw cap does not interfere with the evolution of the wine, whereas the cork it evolves much faster, so it ages much faster than not the screw cap, and there is variation between the different type of between the same wine as well, because it's natural, and every cork at the end of the day, even though it comes from the same batch or the same plant, is gives it a slightly different experience. So it depends what you want at the end of the day.
Yeah, I see. So there is larger variation. That's interesting. So you, being an Italian, the Italian like wine segment is so large and so complicated. What do you think? What would you say to our viewers? What are some hidden gems that they should focus, some interesting Italian wine regions? Because lots of people are kind of stuck between Tuscany and Piedmont and kind of lose all the intricate details.
For sure. I mean, Friuli Venezia Giulia is a region to discover, and there's lots of
Correct?
beautiful white native grapes, such as red as well. But Ribolla Gialla, Friulano, or Malvasia are three native grapes varieties that are very intriguing to discover, and people really enjoy when they discover. They're very not known yet. So Friuli is a small, beautiful region to discover for sure. Thinking about the wine style that we talked about it before, Sicily is doing some great work on Etna, but not only there,
Yeah,
all throughout the region. Alto Adige is doing something beautiful
yeah,
in higher elevation, so lots of freshness, great acidity, minerality to their wines.
yeah.
I mean, these are two regions I would say that are good to discover and that are also available. I'm passionate about Friuli, so that's what I always say about Friuli as well.
Exactly. Well, I think it's really important to widen the perspective and discover this, because wine is all about discovering these stories and finding new things. I think lots of people get stuck into one or two regions and they really focus on those, which is also understandable, but it's always nice to widen the
If you
perspective.
traveled in Italy, drink local wines, drink the wines from the region. I think that's the best suggestion you can have because Italy as a whole drinks local. We drink the wines from the area mostly. So if you travel to Friuli, drink Friulian wines. If you drink to Sicily, drink Sicilian wines. If you go to Tuscany, drink Tuscan wines. Of course, you'll find all the wines from around Italy available too, but
Yeah.
it's best to drink what's coming from that area, from that region.
Exactly. What do you think? What is the future of these lesser known grape varieties? because in the recent years, lots of people are trying, not just in Italy, but in all the mostly European wine regions where they have these traditional old grape varieties that are not very well known. But as far as I notice, they are struggling quite a lot to
Yeah, people.
get
I
known.
mean, it's going back to the beginning, because if we think already that we need to it's hard because there's so many great varieties, and people don't easily remember them, or have even the opportunity to get in contact with them, because they are
Yeah,
also much less available. So to this to say, it's hard. You need to do a lot of work to discover them, or to bring them internationally. There is definitely some curiosity. Sommeliers from around the world are being curious about native grapes and are passionate about native grapes.
yeah,
But is everybody's different and more passionate about something else. I'm telling you, Alto Adige and Sicily have been really good at bringing forward their identity and their um, more native grapes. Nerello Mascalese, Etna, that's the red
yeah,
grape variety that is made there, and it's becoming much more popular in America, and not only there, but also in Italy and around the world as well. In Alto Adige, we have all the classic grape varieties: Pinot Grigio, Chardonnay, Sauvignon, but we also have like Lagrein, which is curious as well. Unfortunately, native grape varieties would always struggle because people don't know them, and they're not gonna buy something that they don't know. They want something that they
yeah,
know because they know how that wine is gonna react with them. So if you want a native grape variety to succeed in the future, there needs to be a lot of communication, a lot of experiences, a lot of sharing of it. So it's a long journey,
yeah.
but yeah, the international grape varieties will for sure win. But depend internationally. In your own region, native grape varieties win very strong.
Exactly. Well, I think it's our job as well to find those gems that are worth paying attention to and maybe bring more people into this journey. As you said at the beginning, you have many exciting projects for 2025. How do you see? What is your vision for your role in the wine industry for the next period, for the next decade in long term?
Well, as I said before, I want to make sure that the next generation is engaged, involved, and curious, and present into the wine world. So to say, we, the next generation, no, we are, say,
Yeah,
responsible for the future of the wine world, because the previous generation has created what we have today, and we have to bring it forward to the next generation and for the future to come. That to say, I want to be a positive figure in terms of wine education and wine communication. I believe and I see with tangible results how our projects are bringing closer the next generation, are sharing our wines to a wider community, a younger community as well. So
yeah,
really be at the front end of this role where we are bringing closer the next generation of wine. That to say, I want to keep on studying and learning about wine. This year, I want to start WSET level 4, so diploma. Following, we will see what happens after that, but the journey can be much longer as well. So we are excited about that too. As a whole, every project that we do, there's objectives, there's goals, and there's targets to achieve, which are very important to make everything that we do accountable, and also, so to say, successful in a way. So bringing forward the wine into next generation is something that I'm passionate about. I've been doing already since many years, and I think now it's now more than ever, people are looking for figures that are able to communicate to the next generation.
yeah,
I think wine for the next generation has to be communicated by young people like us, or
yeah,
younger people like us, because young people want to talk to young people.
Yeah.
We want to stay together. We want to, feel comfortable, and I think this is something that I'm passionate about, something that we're seeing about. I love hearing the feedbacks from the people in my community, from my social networks, on how they've seen a video from a wine and they went to buy it and they tried it and they loved it and they're gonna keep on buying it, or how they came to one of my tasting experiences. They've tried a new wine, they learned something new, and they kept on, coming back or looking at my videos because they are insightful, and so to say, they found themselves in my community, in our
Yeah.
community. Of course, I'm not for everybody, so that's super fine. The wine again is
It's
diverse,
normal.
and it's huge, and there's lots of different opinions about it. I've shared my own today, and I look forward to bring forward this opinion to the world. And yeah, so I think we have to be good at being able to make this transition, being able to bring closer the next generation into the wine.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's awesome, and good luck with your endeavors of the diploma. And thank you for your
Thank you.
contribution for the wine industry, for sharing your passion and educating the next generation. Thank you for everyone for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I would recommend for everybody to check out Felix's social media platforms, subscribe to his YouTube channel, check out his Instagram. As he said, it's very diverse. There are wine tastings, some fitness, runnings, painting. So there is definitely something for everybody. And see you in the next episode. Bye bye.